Hi everybody. I hope you can hear me properly. I had to turn the fan off because of the noise, so this video will not be long. I realized that I have not spoken about sharks, and I love sharks. So I'm going to talk about sharks, and you can listen about sharks. So sharks, they're not like other fish. They have cartilaginous skeletons, so that what's in your nose, cartilage, in your ears, cartilage. That's what they have for their skeletons. They're over 400 million years old. They're older than dinosaurs, older than trees. I think, hell, I think they're even older than the rings on Saturn. There are hundreds and hundreds of species of sharks, everything from like the dwarf lantern shark, which is a few inches, 8 inches, I think, to the 40-foot whale shark, which incidentally only eats plankton. I'm not people. Someone across the road is working. So sharks, they're built for survival. They do have a really strong sense of smell. They can detect not just blood, but all kinds of other things really far away. And they don't go crazy when they do smell blood either. That's not a thing. They have electroreception. So they have these things, ampullae of Lorenzini, that detect electrical signals from muscles and your heartbeat and stuff. So it helps them to find prey that might be hiding under the sand and stuff. A lot of sharks have many rows of teeth, and some of them will have like thousands and thousands of teeth in their lifetime because they're constantly replacing them as time goes by. So, are they dangerous? No, not really, I don't think. Certainly not the way the movies make it look. That's not real. Those are the movies. Shark lives matter because they're apex predators. So that means that they help to keep fish populations balanced by removing weak and sick animals to just, to prevent populations from getting out of control and overgrazing coral reefs and seagrass and stuff. So without sharks, some fish populations would explode, and it would send the whole ecosystem into like out of balance. So that's really really important. So no sharks means instability, which is not what you want in an ecosystem. There's so many different sharks with so many different cool facts. So some of them glow in the dark, uh, biofluorescence. The Greenland shark can live over 400 years. The hammerhead shark can see all around because of the position of its eyes. Some sharks can rest on the ocean floor because they can pump water over their gills so that they can get oxygen, while others have to be constantly moving. So you have so many different kinds of sharks. Let's talk about reef sharks. So you have a few different species of reef sharks. There's the gray reef shark, the Caribbean reef shark. There is the black tip reef shark. There is the white tip reef shark. Probably have some others too, but those are the ones you find on coral reefs in the tropical waters. And they're usually about 3 to 8 feet long. They have to be fast and agile for hunting and maneuvering around the complex coral structures without injuring themselves. These are the species that will often have really, really good eyesight so that they can see in the water as they move around, and the electroreception, like we spoke about. The white tip reef shark is actually one of those species that can pump water over its gills so that they can rest, while others, they have to keep moving. Well, what will they eat? They will eat reef fish, your parrotfish, your surgeonfish, your snapper, things like that. They'll eat octopus, squid, and crustaceans. They'll eat a lot of different things, actually. So this helps to control the really fast-growing populations of reef fish. Some reef sharks are surprisingly social. The gray reef sharks, you'll see them in kind of loose groups from time to time. I think also the Caribbean reef sharks. They're not necessarily territorial reef sharks, but you will have some species that will stay in the same reef area for years. So yeah, they have some amount of curiosity towards humans when you're diving, and they're usually fine to go around unless you provoke them or something. Usually. Yeah, and like many other animals in the sea, they face problems with habitat destruction, overfishing, especially from the shark fin trade, bycatch, coral bleaching. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and they mature slowly and reproduce slowly, so that doesn't help with recovery times. So yeah, it's rough on a lot of shark species right now. But you have things like MPAs, the marine protected areas, which they help. They definitely do help. Studies have shown that they increase shark numbers, so that's definitely. Alright, so what makes an open ocean shark an open ocean shark? They're built for efficiency, long distance travel, hunting in the dark. Sometimes they'll be migrating across entire oceans. They have really streamlined bodies, long pointed snouts, large pectoral fins. They have dark backs and light bellies. It's called counter shading. So from above, they're dark and it blends in with the deep, and from below, they're light and it blends in with the sunlight at the surface. Stuff. So you have the blue shark. They're more widespread around the world. You can find it. They actually have really beautiful deep blue colors, and they're ones that will migrate thousands and thousands of miles. You have the short fin makos, like I think the fastest shark. That's a 40-mile-an-hour shark. Insane. They're warm-blooded, which allows them to have big bursts of speed. The oceanic whitetip is a big one with rounded white tip fins. You find them far offshore, and they're pretty abundant. There's a great white shark. You see them along the coastlines sometimes too, especially when they're younger. But they will travel across the ocean. It's insane how far they go. So out in the deep blue, they have to have really strong sense of smell and electroreception to detect signals from really far away. They have to have really good low light vision, and they're constantly moving. These are the ones that they have to be moving to get lower water, pushing over their gills so that they can keep breathing. No swimming means no oxygen, and that's not good. They'll eat tuna, squid, smaller sharks sometimes, marine mammals if they get the chance. Out there, you kind of have to just take what you get. It's the open ocean. And they also, just like the reef sharks, they play a really important role in the ecosystem, regulating prey populations and things like that in the pelagic ecosystems. So sharks, yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. I love them. And if you ever see one in the water, don't be afraid. They're pretty chill. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks guys. Bye.